This is a video to go over some common mistakes that we've been seeing in your class for adding and subtracting numbers. The first thing I want to do is just go over the rules really quickly for adding. If the signs are the same, keep the sign and you add normally. One of the first things I want you to do from now on, whether it's adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, the first thing you need to decide is what the answer is going to be. Is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? Once you decide that, you write down the sign. So a lot of people aren't doing that and your answer is the wrong sign. When there are different signs, and again, this is for adding. When you're adding two numbers that have different signs, so if you're adding a positive and a negative number, keep the sign of the larger number. Keep the sign of the larger number and write it down right away. So if you know your answer is going to be negative, throw a negative sign on your page where you're going to write your answer. And number two, you're going to subtract. And you're going to do this. You're going to do the larger minus the smaller. And you already wrote down if your answer is going to be positive or negative, so you don't have to worry about it. Let's do a few examples. So 8 plus negative 12. Okay, it's addition. And I'm adding a positive number and a negative number. So when I add two numbers that have different signs, step one, keep the sign of the larger number. My answer is going to be negative. So I write down the negative sign before I even do anything. All I did was decide that my answer will be negative. Now the next thing I think about my rules. When I add a positive number and a negative number, I keep the sign of the larger one and I subtract the larger one minus the smaller one. So my answer, negative 4. So once again, the first step, decide if your answer will be positive or negative. Then you write down the sign. Then you subtract the larger minus the smaller. Let's do another one. Negative 4 plus negative 17. So I'm adding a negative number plus a negative number. When you add two numbers that have the same sign, you keep the sign. So my answer will be negative. And you add normally. So 17 plus 4. Oops. 17 plus 4 is 21. So my answer is negative 21. That's adding. If they're both positive, you guys know how to do that. This is both negative. Let's just look at one more just to be safe. Let's do negative 4 plus 22. So it's a negative plus a positive, so I keep the sign of the larger one. In this case, it'll be positive. So the answer will be positive. I already wrote that down. And I subtract the larger minus the smaller, and I get 18. So positive 18. Notice that my answer is not negative. That is a big mistake that a lot of you were making. Here's a big mistake I was seeing. Negative 4 plus 22. This is what you guys were doing. You guys were doing 22 plus 4 is 26. Oh, there's a negative sign, negative 26. That's how a lot of people did this on the quiz, which we have never taught you. That is not the rule. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to ignore the negative sign, I'm going to add, and then I'm going to put the negative sign back. That is not the rule. This is wrong. You have to think about the rules for addition. Now, I'm going to show you two ways of doing subtraction. The first way, which a lot of you seem to just abandon, is to do keep, change, change. When you do keep, change, change, the middle C, this one, let's see right there, right in the middle, it turns it into an addition problem. So all you have to do is follow the rules for addition. Here's an example. Negative 4 minus 8. Minus we can't do. There's negative numbers, there's minus, we hate it. So I draw my columns, which a lot of you stopped doing and made mistakes. Keep, change, -4 plus -8. Now I'm adding two signs that are the same, so I keep the sign and I add normally. Okay? Now if it was -4 minus -8, draw my columns, change, -4 plus 8. Now I have two different signs. The positive numbers are the bigger ones, my answer will be positive, and I subtract 8 minus 4 is 4. Two very different situations, very different answers. I'm going to show you a second way of doing subtraction, and it's a way I'm planning on showing you in class as well. So the second way of doing it, anytime it's subtraction, here's how you're going to do it. So let's look at a situation. 6 minus 18. The first number is a positive 6. I want you to circle that. Now what I want you to do is circle the second number and the sign in front of it. So it's 6 and it's a -18. That's what I have circled. Now all you have to do is add them together. So I'm doing 6 plus -18 because those are the two numbers I circled. Keep the sign of the larger number and subtract, and I get -12. If it was -5 minus 10, I would circle the -5, I would circle the -10, and then I would do -5 plus -10, and I would get -15. This is the same thing as keep, change without drawing the columns and actually doing the keep, change. So all you're doing is you're circling both numbers and the sign that's in front of them, and then you're adding them. The one thing you have to remember is when there's a back-to-back negative. Something like -7 minus -6. So you see how here there's a back-to-back negative. Anytime there's a back-to-back negative, the back-to-back negatives become one positive. So instead of -7 minus -6, it's -7 plus 6. And then you just do your addition rules. Keep the sign of the bigger number and subtract. So let me do a few more examples for you just so you can get used to doing the circle method. So 18 minus -4 and -13 minus 8. So if you want to try these on your own, pause the video right now and try these on your own. When you have the answer down, hit play, and I will do it, and then you can check your answer. So I'll give you 2 seconds to hit pause. Okay, so now if you're watching this, that means you already tried it on your own, and this is just to check it. So the first one, 18 minus -4. Back-to-back negatives become one positive. So 18 plus 4 is positive 22. The second one, -13 minus 8, so if you did keep, change, that's fine. Or circle the number and the sign in front of it, circle the other number and the sign in front of it, and then we're going to add those two numbers together. A negative plus a negative, keep the sign, and add normally, -21. So that's how that works. If you like that better than doing keep, change, then do it this way every time. If you prefer keep, change, that's fine. All I ask is that you draw the columns because a lot of people are messing this part up. Okay, those are the big mistakes we're seeing. We saw some people not even do keep, change and totally ignore the negative signs. But you never taught you that. You never ignored the negative signs. If you have questions, please email me. Please come in with questions. Please ask us to come up at lunch. Either me or Miss Pace, one else is available. So ask us to come up at lunch. We'd be glad to help you. Find some practice online. You can Google it. Khan Academy is a great website. They have videos, they have practice problems, they have practice tests. You can practice and then come in with questions. Good luck.